We are so blessed to have Reverend Dr. Kathianne Lewis as our guest speaker today. She has been the senior minister at Center for Spiritual Living Seattle for over 30 years. What Dr. Peter and I both know about Dr. Kathianne is she teaches, she practices, and she is all about living a prosperous life. She has ensured that her community prospers and thrives in Seattle. She is like a no-nonsense person when it comes to putting the spiritual principles of prosperity into our life. And I know that this message is truly going to serve every single one of us. So we are delighted to have her, and we're grateful that she is doing a workshop after our Sunday celebration at 1 p.m. Central Time live. Dr. Kathianne Lewis.
Hello, Dallas. It is so wonderful to be with you, and so I feel so privileged and honored to be able to speak, sort of, kind of, at a church that has been so blessed by two friends of mine, both Reverend Dr. Petra and Reverend Karen. So thank you so much for asking me into your, I would say your sanctuary, but really into your homes, because I know that this is a weird time that we're in. So thank you for inviting me into your home. I'm Kathianne Lewis, and I'm from Seattle, and I have been at this particular church for 31 years. And I've been a minister for 36, I guess. And I graduated with Reverend Petra when we were both became reverends. And I'm honored to talk to you a little bit about my idea of abundance and how we can prove that and use that and be that in our life. It's been a focus for me. It's been a focus of study. And I think the reason that it's been such a focus of study is because I started out so very, very, very poor. I started out in the Eugene, Springfield area of Oregon, and like a lot of mill towns, my family lived from paycheck to paycheck. And I could always tell, although I didn't know it at the time, but now looking back, I knew we were getting to the end of the paycheck when what we had for 4 nights or 5 nights was beans. But I'm grateful that I was given a solid foundation somehow in some lifetime that said that I could be the creator of my own experience. And so when I came into this particular type of teaching, back then it was called religious science, when I came into this teaching, I glommed onto it, and I used it, and I allowed it to enrich my life. Well, I want to say that I've read almost every prosperity book, and I'm going to just give a plug now to one that I found in my library. I don't know where it came from or how I got it, but it's called Putting the Prosperity Idea to Work. And it helps me. And the reason that it helps me so much is because it starts where I think I now have come to believe we must all start. Not in making affirmations, not in creating a vision map or a treasure map, and not into getting out of debt, all those. That is all really, really good. This starts, it asks us to start with A. In fact, it goes A through Z. And we start with A, and A is not for Apple. A is for the absolute. I encourage people to start with their attention on the absolute. And the absolute, I'll give you definitions just in case you are interested in what I'm talking about when I say the absolute. It's defined in philosophy as the ultimate transcendent basis for thought and being. It transcends everything, and it transcends it so far that it is independent and unrelated to everything. That sounds far out. It's also an adjective. It also can be defined as perfect, complete, unlimited, not conditioned by anything else. I love that as an adjective. It is perfect, complete, and limited, not conditioned by anything else. Doesn't that sound a lot like how we would describe the infinite presence? The thing itself. Principle beyond precedence. I've also like to just say that in this particular book, it says that the most direct approach to a prosperous life is through the absolute. That's a lot like Jesus saying, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God," or our contact with the absolute, and all else should be added. When I was physically unwell, and I've had some issues twice, what I sought was that which was beyond physical manifestation, so that I could draw from it its perfection, its completeness, and its unconditionedness, not conditioned by my physical experience. When my relationships haven't gone well, then I have sought the absolute, because there is something about the absolute that's not conditioned by how people talk, how people act, what they have believed in the past. And somehow touching that which isn't conditioned by conditions, love starts to show up in my experience. And when I have been financially hesitant to act, to believe, to consider, then I've made it a point to touch the absolute and allow its thoughts to inform my thoughts, so that I can be more accepting of abundance. Now, I'm going to do a workshop later, and part of what I want to do in that workshop is to give the reasons why we don't easily touch the absolute, and this actually comes from the teachings of Ernest Holmes. And then I also want to share with you an experience of touching the absolute, so that you'll have a felt experience of what it's like to be in the presence of something that's not conditioned by conditions, and that you can experience yourself as not conditioned by conditions. But that takes more than the 15 to 20 minutes that I've got right now. So I want to just share with you some things out of this book, because it's really great. And so I'll go through A. I've already done A, it's the absolute, and I'll go through B and see how far we can go. So let's just end with A, and I would love for you to say, "I am my own good fortune." See, if it's absolute and it's not conditioned, then I can be my own good fortune. And I myself am abundance. I'm not abundant, I am abundance. Why? Because I am being conditioned by the absolute, not conditions. So those are wonderful affirmations to say, so that we can get ourselves in the vibration of the absolute. But then let's go to B. B is about business. And it's God's business to support and sustain its creation, to bring about order, harmony, beauty, and bring all of that into manifestation. The first law of the universe, according to Judge Thomas Troward, I bet you love this, Petra, is order. And God brings order into creation, and out of order comes harmony and beauty and plenty for all. And when we dial into that frequency, when we allow ourselves to be about God's business, Jesus said, "I'm about my Father's business." Remember? We find that what we want to do is do well by helping others do well, because that brings harmony into the world. It's not about taking or pulling one over on someone, or doing the least that we possibly can to get the most that we possibly can. Instead, we're about our Father, Mother, God's business, and that business is to bring order, harmony, and beauty into the world, and we do that through the business that we're in. So we add order and harmony and beauty, a sense of rightness, to being a clerk or a CEO, when we're about our Father, Mother, God's business. Let's go to C. C's for compensation. The laborer is worth his hire. That comes from the Bible. And we must be willing to receive for what we have given. We must be willing to receive for what we've been given, even if it's not from the direct place that we gave to. So I may be giving here. Volunteers give a lot, and they may not receive something for what they have given out in their volunteer responsibilities. But since the universe is about order, harmony, and balance, it would be out of balance if I just gave, and never received. So we have to be willing to be a giver and a receiver. That's healthy, and it keeps the universe in balance. It is just as much part of our responsibility as human beings bringing spirit to earth or spiritual ideas to earth. It's just as much of our responsibility to give, to support, as it is to receive and be supported. Practice seeing more come to you. Maybe it'll come through your place of employment. Maybe it'll come from your investments, but it's really none of your business. It is the universe's business to support you as you have supported creation, however you do it, whether it's through your job, volunteering, being a good parent, being a good daughter, however you're doing it, you deserve to be supported. And that can be a little hard for spiritual people because we think that we need to just do it and not want anything back. Well, don't want it back from the person or the place that you give it, but want it back from the universe because it keeps things in balance. It's a principle. So there's a visualization I sometimes encourage people to use, which is to imagine themselves as a beautiful lake. And that lake is fresh and clean, and it's filled with abundance of life, fish and flora and fauna. And there are streams coming into that lake. And all of those streams come off of great mountains. And those mountains are representative of high ideas. And just imagine that your high ideas are feeding into you and keeping you healthy so that you can support more life on earth. Be receptive. D. D is for desire. So we're going to get up to D today. A, B, C, D. D. D is for desire. It's good to have some. To listen to your heart and know what your heart desires. I've actually kind of been addicted to, I think it's Lucifer. Isn't it Lucifer, the one on Netflix? I kind of really like him because he's such a handsome devil. And he's always saying, and what you truly desire. Well, really, your heart is always telling you what it truly desires. We just need to listen. We need to know that it's okay to listen to our heart, not our head, because our head might be trying to impress other people. Our head may be trying to just get out of an issue and move on. And the heart will always lead us forward. So it is okay to desire. Desire. Then be persistent with that desire. Continue to hold it in mind, to give it attention, and be insistent through your prayers and your affirmations and the way you speak. And then imagine, see yourself there. See yourself as already done. As Judge Thomas Troyer said, and I know you know this because you're Dallas and you are Petra's students. I know you know this, that in the end is the means. And some of your fellow Center for Spiritual Living students don't understand that. Some actually think that they have to figure out the means and then they will claim the end result. Then they'll finally allow themselves to hope and wish for more. And so if people will pray for more money, thinking that then if they had more money, then they could go ahead and listen to their heart and put it in the place that they want it to happen. But money follows desire. So it's okay to desire, to listen to your heart. And then the rest of D is, what I want to say is about discouragement. Don't be. Some things unfold easily and some things take time. But when you are resting in the absolute, time stands still. And it can take time. but you're still content. Because it is only the presence and power of God that can make us truly satisfied and fulfilled forever and ever. Amen. And the rest is just how we live that amen out on earth, so that we are blessed and we are a benefit to everyone else. I hope I get to actually see you in a Zoom call this afternoon. And we're going to look at a practice and practice together, touching the absolute and letting it inform us, become form in us, so that we can inform our world. I hope I see you. Bye for now.